Rebuilding a 50-year-old sailboat or trying to tackle any large project sometimes seems like a romantic notion, but it definitely has its downsides.
I need air.
And it's not for everyone.
So if you're thinking of doing a project like this and you're having some self-doubt, then this video is probably for you, because today we're going to chat about 10 reasons why doing this absolutely sucks.
Well, we just came back from the Odyssey Sailing Festival in Greece, where we're hanging out with amazing people on amazing boats in a beautiful country and with good food and sunshine. And to come back to a project this large and this unfinished on a gray, gloomy, rainy week, it just sort of all hit us.
So we figured it's a perfect day to chat with you about all the depressing things about this project.
Yeah, all the things we're struggling with, some of which we've gone over before and touched on, and some of which we probably haven't shared. But yeah, there's a lot, and we boiled it down into 10 points. Brought the iPad so that we try to stay on topic. I hope this video doesn't come across as us just complaining, but there are some pretty significant downsides to a project this large and what we're doing, and we don't often talk about them. So this is sort of just like a full video of reality checks.
The weather is challenging.
It's about to pour. Damn it.
I feel like if we were in place like the UK in the winter, it'd be even more challenging. But here, it's on and off because it is sunny at times and it is rainy at times and windy at times.
Oh, oh, f***. Oh,
There are the options of putting a boat inside in a shed or, under a tent for a project. And we chose to keep the boat outside because it was definitely the cheapest option. But it hasn't been easy, especially in the rain.
Good thing we have an awning. And also the work we can do on the boat is limited if we put it in a shed, because the reason why boats go in sheds around here is to protect them from the weather. And so they go in pristine and they try to keep them pristine. So we can't really do a lot of like dusty, dirty, grindy, sandy work inside of a shed here. And it's been okay. Having the big air conditioners helped because it does heat as well, so it keeps the inside nice and dry. But yeah, it's definitely challenging to like think you have a plan and then it starts raining, so you have to just scrap that plan and go with a different plan.
I think the solution that we found to make it easier is to focus on inside projects when it is raining, because we are solidly protected inside the boat now. There's like a few holes left.
But mostly we're sealed up.
When it is sunny and when it is dry, then we can focus on doing things outside, which means that the projects are very much chaotic, because we do half the week is something outside and the other half is something inside, and then we digest it into something that you guys can watch that makes sense. Speaking of weather, it's starting to be colder, so don't laugh at me.
I picked my bottle up without realizing.
Well, you picking your bottle made me realize that I should probably pick my bottle before it gets colder, and made me realize that we're sipping on some really nice.
Wait,
hot.
you gotta get our faces out of it.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah. So today we are enjoying some hot Element drink because they're having this fall special between now and January. They call it the chocolate medley special. We already enjoy the Element that are mixed with cold water. We drink 2 or 3 packs every single day.
Alive this summer.
Yeah, but they also have hot mixes that are meant to drink with hot water.
They sent us a few of them a while ago, and we didn't try them because it was in the middle of summer, and we were not going to be drinking hot drinks when it's 40 degrees Celsius out. However, now that it's colder and rainier, we just put some in our bottles this morning, and they're pretty tasty. I was concerned because they're chocolate. I was like, is it going to taste like hot chocolate? Is it going to be hot chocolate? Am I going to be disappointed that it's not hot chocolate? But it's not hot chocolate because it's not full of milk and sugar. It's not dessert. It's more like tea. It's like a warm, flavorful beverage. Which one do you have?
I have the chocolate chai.
I'm going chocolate mint.
Ooh, can I try yours? I'm not a big fan of chocolate and mint usually, but
that's good. It tastes like chai.
Oh, it's very mild.
Yeah. I've heard that the chocolate mint is actually good in coffee. We don't have coffee here. We don't really drink coffee, but I feel like we should try it.
So Element is a zero sugar electrolyte mix that basically helps you stay hydrated. It's really meant for people that are like us, that have an active lifestyle or that likes to do sports and that are Olympic athletes. If you just want to have a little flavor in your water, but you don't want to have all the sugar flavor water, it's really nice. I usually don't drink water without the cold Element in it, and that used to be a problem because I would drink too much Element. But I realized that I can just microdose.
Microdose your electrolytes.
Microdose my electrolytes. So I add like a third of a pack every time I have a bottle of water. And it's just enough to add like a little bit of salty flavor to it. And it's really delicious. But then I can still have my 3 packs a day without doing too much. So if you do want to try it out, check out the link below. It's drinkelement.com/sellinguma. And you can get a free sample pack as well as the chocolate medley special. And if you've tried it before, and if you've tried it with coffee before, definitely let us know how you like it, because I'm curious.
So basically, being dehydrated sucks, and the solution is drink electrolytes. That's like a bonus reason. That's not one of our 10.
Yeah.
Should we get back to another reason why big refits like this suck?
Yes, reason number 2, time.
Time management.
Yes.
Like using our time wisely.
Because time will flow by no matter what you do in life.
Yeah.
That's a really quotable thing I just said. I like it.
Yeah, this project's massive, and it's easy to let projects snowball and add one more thing and one more thing and one more thing. And every, day, every hour, every minute that we're not working on the boat or wasting our time working on the boat is like a minute longer that the refit's gonna take. So as much as like we just wanna curl up in bed and sleep all day or play video games all day or not be on the boat all day, we're just delaying the gratification of launching the boat.
When we started this project, we had 3 options. One was to just keep sailing with the boat as is, and maybe one day it'll break. We'll save up enough money that, when it does break, maybe we have enough to buy another boat.
Hopefully it doesn't sink before then.
Yeah.
We'd be left homeless.
Second option would be to just stop sailing, like completely get rid of the boat, move on to land, get a real job, and save enough money in order to buy another boat when we would have enough money for that. And that's also a very long process. Again, just like point 1, then would be out of a boat for a while. Option number 3 was to just keep going, to just
fix what we have.
Fix, exactly. We have a boat, we have a hull.
And we own our boat, and she sails well. I mean, we've gone over all the reasons why we decided to do the refit and not just scrap her or sell her before. But time is money, and we have time, and we don't have a lot of money. So yeah, we decided to just do the best of what we have and fix what we have, knowing this refit's going to take quite a long time. And since it's just the 2 of us working on the boat, we have all these other things going on behind the scenes. Yeah, it's difficult to manage our time.
Figuring out a way to manage time and be okay with the decision that you do make for that time management is a big thing, because otherwise you start doubting yourself, which we'll get into in a minute. You start questioning everything, and then you start wasting time just thinking about the things you could have done better or different. And at this point too, we're so into it. There's no point wasting our time thinking what road we could have gone into differently.
Yeah.
We just have to focus on the road that we are on right now.
It's good to get some perspective on it, but it does take time and it is exhausting. We could probably do a whole video on like
Time
management and what programs we're using, how we're scheduling, how we're doing to-do lists, how we're staying on top of the design work and then managing the overall project. Because like some of us have a minor in construction management, which has probably come more in handy than our actual architecture degrees on this project. Time is money, so we talked about time. Now let's talk about money.
It's very related to time. If you have a lot of money, a lot of time, you don't have a lot of time.
Wait, nope. Try that again.
If you have money, normally you lack time. If you have a lot of time, normally it means that
you lack money.
you're kind of poor. It's very hard to have both. And if you do have both, then you have the golden ticket.
We're sliding into the middle. When we first started, we had all the time and no money. And now we have like less time but more money, but still not no time and all the money. Like we have the money to do this refit,
Yes.
but we also have a lot of other things going on that pull our time in different directions now.
And we're not the type of people who, write down every single time we buy a.
Keep our receipts for every screw.
Yeah, no. Every time we buy like a pad for sanding, we don't really type it down and how much it costs.
We've never been that like I can't think of a better word other than anal about budgeting and like tracking every expense. For us, it's like as long as we have money in our bank account at the end of the month, we're doing fine.
Yeah.
That's been our budgeting for the last 10 years. But we'll do a whole video on like the cost and why we chose to refit instead of rebuild and like all that stuff. That'll be later. But for now, it's more about the difficulties of managing that budget. It's also the first time in 10 years that our bank account month to month continues to get smaller and smaller. Generally speaking, every month, what we've been making, makes our bank account either the same or a little bit larger. And so during this refit, we're just watching that account get smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's difficult emotionally because it means that if we're not careful, we actually will run out of money before this refit's over.
I think the solution that we found is to have some type of budget management. Like, yes, we know that everything that we're pouring into goes into the project, but when we do have a big expense, we try to keep track of it. But also doing the work ourselves has been helping a lot because if we were to pay somebody to do this entire project, there's no way, like might as well buy another boat at this point.
The time we spend working on the boat ourselves doesn't make our bank account smaller.
Yeah, and it's not a waste of time for us because we wouldn't be doing something else instead. We'd still be focusing on the boat. This whole project is a huge experiment for us because there's a lot of things that we've never done before that we're trying it for the first time.
It's not like we're doing things that have never been done before. It's just we're doing things that we've never done before.
Which can be challenging.
Along with a lot of things on this boat, which we haven't talked about yet, which we'll be getting into soon, are things that have never been done before.
There's obviously a great aspect of learning and trying things that are new or experimenting with our own boat. But we're not going to focus on the good things. We're going to focus on the bad things.
The difficulties.
Difficulties.
And the difficulties are just like, it takes so much longer to do something for the first time. It's not like almost any other kind of building, because if you're building a house, there's set standards of how things are built. If you're building a commercial building, there's set standards for how things are built. If you're building a home kit airplane, it's like building giant IKEA furniture. Like there's a very specific set manual of how you do things, what order you do things in, what it's going to take, what parts you need. And this is all just winging it. We have a plan.
Slight change of plans.
We think we know what we're doing, but we're not like 110% sure on exactly the measurements. There's no certification process. Like we came up with a design, we came up with how strong everything needs to be, we came up with a lamination schedule. I mean, we're seeking advice from people we trust who've done stuff like this before, but there's no instruction manual.
Often it happens that you spend hours, sometimes days, sometimes a week on this one little small project, and to realize that we've done it all wrong and we have to go back to the drawing board.
Well, that's interesting.
That's the reality of things. It is difficult, it is challenging, but I think the slightly silver lining side is that it's fiberglass and wood. So worst case, if we fail, all we have to do is grind it out and try it again. It's going to make the project a little bit longer, but it doesn't mean that it's obsolete. That one is hitting us hard because we've been living on our boat for 10 years. It's been our home for 10 years. And now that we can't really be living inside the boat yet, we needed to find places to stay. Our current situation is we live in a truck and we have the storage unit. And we also have a container. And all of our things are spread in 4 different places. So it's hard to find consistency into our daily life.
It was hard enough to like find your toothbrush when we only had one place we were living. But now it's like, wait, didn't we used to have a tool or a thing? Or like, wait, when we took the blank out of the boat, where did we put it? And they're also split up all over town. which is also true.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes away
A
from
lot of
each
driving
other.
back and forth between storage
Yeah.
facilities.
I mean, we do have an organization to it. Like, we know what's in the container and we know what's in the truck versus we know what's in a storage unit.
Sort of.
But it's still hard because you do have to travel through all those three things, as opposed to having an apartment where everything is in one place. We did have an apartment for a few months, and it's been even more challenging because we needed an apartment and a car. And so our solution was to just take the two things that we needed and merge it into one.
Two birds with one stone. Is that the saying? It's been tricky not having a home because it's still camping. You know, like a truck is good for adventuring, and if we were like driving through Africa playing with elephants or something like that, it would be fun because it's like an adventure. But living out of the back of a truck for your main habitat, it's just camping. We've been camping for almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's not easy when it's blowing or it's windy or people don't like where you parked or
We've had
there's
people
too many
slash
people
our
parked there.
tires. We think it's one specific area where people like come in and they get angry, and so they just like
0 PSI. This tire's been giving us issues for a while. We put a little tiny hole in the sidewall a while ago, and we had it patched. But ever since, it seems to have like a really random and slow leak. Maybe it depends on like how or where we park. Because like it'll go for 2 or 3 days, and then we'll wake up and it's completely flat. And this morning, it's completely flat. Luckily, we have an air compressor and a tire repair kit, and so we've been fine. But when we were talking to the tire shop this time around, we were like, all 3 tires got popped in the same place. That's not normal, is it? He's like, no, you shouldn't, like, tires shouldn't do that. So that's unfortunate, but it does mean we have to be a bit more careful where we park. And so that's been difficult, being sort of like professionally homeless.
professionally homeless. I like that.
yeah.
It's been good to live in the truck because I think we'd rather live in the truck than the apartment, but it does come with its I think both come with challenges.
I mean, the truck's been great. We can carry plywood. Each sheet of that plywood, the best we could find was a van that could deliver those sheets of plywood, and they could deliver 3 sheets at a time, and they wanted $100 per trip. That's already saved us over $1,000 just being able to have the roof rack on the truck and go to the lumberyard and pick up what we need when we need it.
That's a whole other video. We have a lot of like mini videos going on.
Yeah, we should do a tour of the truck.
Yeah, if you guys want a tour of the truck next, definitely let us know because we've done a lot of upgrades to that truck.
Our home on wheels.
That brings us to point number 6. It's very unlike us to want to stay in a place for more than 2 weeks.
We've never spent more than 2 weeks in an Anchorage, I don't think. I mean, except for the places we've been stuck.
Yeah.
The UK, France.
Norway.
We weren't
but
but
we
we
were
traveled.
happily stuck.
We
in
weren't
that.
stuck in
No,
Norway.
we
sailed.
were.
Oh,
We were stuck in
Trondheim.
winter for 4 months and behind
Yeah,
a bridge.
yeah, that's
but
true.
But it was nice because it was Norway. Being on a boat for us is the opposite of being stuck, right? Because we can choose to move. And ever since the project started, we felt stuck because we could not move to another quote unquote better place. Once it's here, it's here. The only way out is moving forward with this project.
Yeah.
But it's easy to feel trapped. It's easy
Yeah.
to feel like all the weight on your shoulders. We have to remind ourselves of, well, the more we feel like that way and the more unmotivated we are, the less this project is gonna get done. So
Which means it's going to take longer, which means it's going to be harder for longer. We were in Mallorca, and it was a nice place to spend 6 months, but it was also kind of small. We knew if we were going to do this refit, we needed to be somewhere bigger. We kind of thought we wanted to be on an island because it kind of still felt contained, and we didn't have like too many options, because if we were on mainland and we could just kind of go everywhere or hop on a train and go somewhere, it felt like we would get too distracted. And so we purposely like enclosed ourselves on an island, knowing that we were probably going to feel stuck, and hopefully using that feeling to motivate us to finish. It works most of the time, but yeah, every once in a while we just feel claustrophobic in our life and in our skin, and it's hard to balance that like time not working on the boat versus time working on the boat.
But I think the good news is that we are in Europe, and everything in Europe is so close to each other. So it's easy when we do feel like we need like a little bit of an escape. It's easy to travel to somewhere else. Like we just came back from the Odyssey Festival, which was, in Greece. It was a week in Greece with amazing people.
2-hour direct flight. I mean, it was really easy.
And so it's kind of easy to stay mobile in a way, especially we have the truck, we can take it on mainland and drive around a little bit. But yeah, it's finding that balance between how long we stay on the island working on the boat versus how long we can venture off a little bit just to have our peace of mind.
Yeah, it's the longest we've ever sat still since college, and it's difficult for us.
Which brings us to very connected point number 7.
Point number 7.
Doing boat work in exotic places.
That's what they say.
That's what
Cruising
they
life
say.
is doing boat work in exotic places. I think we made a video titled that. I think every sailing channel's probably made a video titled that at some point.
There's multiple reasons why the exotic place makes it challenging for boat work. One, there's a language barrier.
Ciao, Bella.
Italy specifically has been a bit of a culture shock for us because we came here expecting that, well, it's Europe, it's going to be easy to communicate in English.
How's your Italian?
My Italian is not perfect.
How would you say that in Italian?
Il mio italiano no è perfetto.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds great.
I don't know if it's all of Italy, but mainly
It's
Sardinia.
Sardinia.
There's not a lot of people that speak English here, so it's been challenging, especially at first. We didn't know one single word in Italian.
Yeah. We're learning though. We are learning Italian, and to the point where we can like order what we need, ask for what we need. And people are friendly here. They just don't speak English, which isn't like a bad thing. You're not expecting them to, but it is easier when you're in a place where you can speak the local language or they can speak your language. Also cultural things like all of Italy shuts down for 2 hours in the middle of the day. Most of Europe, kind of that siesta time. And so, how much work gets done by a single contractor in a day. You'd think on lunch break, it's like, oh yeah, it's 2 hours off in the middle of the day. Let's go run errands. Let's go to the paint store. Let's go to the marine store. Let's go to the lumberyard. Nope, they're all closed too. It is what it is. It's just like getting used to it. There's no like 24-hour stores. There's no, I just want a Home Depot. You know what I mean? Like I just want a Home Depot.
Yeah, another point that's been difficult is because we are on an island, shipping things to Sardinia is challenging because one, you can't find everything locally, and a lot of the things that have to do with boats, you need to be a contractor to order, like epoxy and big like plywood.
Sardinia has weird rules around shipping, and anything deemed hazardous you can't get. Like we can't get Sharpies because they're alcohol based. We can't get alcohol like isopropyl. That sounds like a drug. Like rubbing alcohol to like clean things or to fill up our alcohol stove. We can't get epoxy. We can't get lithium batteries. Like even the lithium battery for like a watch, we can't get shipped here. But they're all on island somewhere, so they can arrive somehow. We just can't do it, which is interesting. And at a minimum, if we can find it online and in Europe and order it, it's still longer to arrive because it has to come to an island. In Italy, since we're not Italian citizens, we don't have an Italian tax number. And so most companies in Italy won't sell us stuff. I do not understand how that works. But like if you're not Italian in Italy, you can't buy anything online. We have to order it from Germany or France or the Netherlands.
We've been lucky with the lumberyard because they've been accepting our Sailing Uma business as a business that we can actually buy lumber for, which
and the
been
paint
helping.
store, the lumberyard and the paint store. But it seems more like a gray area and loophole than the norm. Most businesses, even here in Olbia, won't sell us stuff because we don't have an Italian tax code. And so we do try our best to find things in Europe because shipping things is easier.
Clearing it through customs is also a big challenge because they always ask for all these paperwork.
Because we don't have an Italian tax code or a VAT number.
It's been so difficult because we had to write an email every single time saying like, no, we're on a boat, we're traveling, we're here on, for refitting our boat. This is our passports. This is a boat registration. It's been kind of a hassle every single time. And it's like, it takes a lot of back and forth just to pay the taxes. But again, we're not trying to complain. We're just trying to highlight some of the difficulties.
These realities and their difficulties.
But the current solution is, yes, we are learning Italian so that communication is a bit better. And we have contractors here, local contractors that are friends that are helping us getting the materials that we need if we can't get access to them. Worst case scenario, we can always take the truck, go to mainland, get what we need and come back with it. I think the reality is every single country is relatable. Every single country, they all have the pros and they all have the cons when it comes to boat work.
Yeah.
And the places that do speak English, it's more expensive. And the places that don't speak English, it's, maybe there's another set of challenges. So I don't think there's a better location for a boat project. You just have to learn, how to get by with that culture. And I think that's the solution.
That's part of the challenge of it. And it's also part of the reason why people do it. Point number 8. Ocho. How do you say 8 in Italian?
Otto.
Otto.
Yeah.
Like I drive my Otto down the Autobahn.
I think it's kind of half the truth, to be honest. I think it just sounds more dramatic.
Our play is doing work that's more enjoyable, and our work is doing work that's less enjoyable.
And it's funny because, I mean, we've been in Sardinia for almost a
years.
year and a half.
2 years.
Almost 2 years. Oh, no,
Almost
2
2
years in
years.
February.
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. And we haven't really seen much of it, to be honest. Like, we haven't explored outside of Olbia much.
All of our camp spots are within like a 1-hour drive of Olbia. So that's as much of Sardinia as we've seen. And we came here thinking, we're like, oh, it's really pretty. We can go exploring. We can go climbing. We can go hiking. We can go biking.
This is why we're doing our boat refit in Sardinia, so that on the weekends we get to actually enjoy places like this.
And we haven't done any of that because every minute that we're not working on the boat is 1 minute longer that the boat project's going to take.
Yeah. Because, yeah, the reality is the more we kind of hyper focus on it, we know the faster it's going to go. But at the same time, we do need to balance our lives between work and play and, you know, working on the boat versus taking times for ourselves. Otherwise, we're going to get burned out. And we definitely don't want that to happen.
It's a very long project, and it's not that we can hyper focus on it for the whole extended period. So we kind of need to like
Yeah.
ride the tide.
I think it's probably one of the most important points of doing a boat work, a boat refit, a boat rebuild this large.
Any project this large.
You
like, it's
have to
gonna
be
come-
able
Yeah.
to balance your time.
Yeah. And it's going to come in waves, and some weeks are really productive and some weeks aren't. But as long as we're like here working on the boat every day, it will get done eventually. So we're trying to play while we work.
Yeah, we're trying to enjoy the process.
You know, like sometimes we get into like epoxy fights, you know, like, no, we just like throw, like,
fiber- like pillow
what was
fights?
the movie? Was it Zoolander where they got into the gas fight? It's like that.
Like, no, don't spray me with resin.
No, don't dump epoxy on my hair. No, stop it. As long as every day we work on the boat a bit and we still like shower, eat, get our admin done, and like, you know, get in bed early enough to watch a movie or something, every day is well balanced. And so we can do that. That's like our version of sustainability. It's like what you can do every day without getting burnt out. 9.
Point number 9.
Now you do a 4. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9.
9, that's German.
Any of these points taken individually aren't that big of a deal. Like we've done boat work in exotic places before. It's usually kind of fun. We've camped before. It's fun. Like, you know, but this sheer volume and scale of this project and the fact that it's just the two of us doing it is exhausting.
But also because when we started, we didn't expect to do this. We started thinking it was going to be a 2-3 months project for fixing the dimples. When we were able to get our long-term visas for Italy, we realized that, well, if we are allowed to be here for such a long time, might as well go a little bit further and rebuild the entire thing.
We've always known that like the possibilities to do a full rebuild was like on the table. Ever since we found out the boat sailed pretty well, which is a good size for the two of us, we've always kind of dreamt of like one day we're gonna rip the whole thing back apart and we're just gonna like do it all exactly how we want it done. But then, yeah, we got our long stay visas. So we're like, you know what? We're ripping half of it out anyway.
Just keep going.
May as well keep going.
And I think the difficulty is that, you know, we have ADHD and with ADHD it's very hard to focus on something that takes long to do.
Yeah.
Like our brain just wants to change directions all the time. And every single day I always think about, what if we do this instead? What if we go there? What if we move to Canada? What if we go to South Africa? You know, it's so easy to just get distracted. If I want to do something, then it's one thing. But if I know I have to do something, then it's
I think it
harder.
was what's that girl's channel? How to ADHD. She talked about motivational bridges. And so like a short project has a short bridge. And so you only need a couple of planks to like get across that bridge. So for us, getting these like 1 week videos out is a pretty good bridge because it's like we can plan it, we can film it, we can edit it, we can, you know, like that 1 week sort of schedule is about as far out as we can plan things. You know, on a boat refit like this, we can't even see the other side of the canyon. It's so big, it's over the horizon. And so we don't even know how many planks we're gonna need to build that bridge. And so it's incredibly draining to just like put another plank down each day and be like, I don't know where the end is. I guess we'll find it when we get there. We just don't. It's really difficult for us to do that.
When we first started, in our very first video, we said,
People often forget that those who go on a journey, they don't just have all their gear and appear places. It takes a decision to start.
we're definitely true to that decision. I think that decision applies today even more than it did before, because we made the decision to start. Now we just need to keep taking one step and then another step and then find the horizon and then the next horizon. Whenever somebody asks us like, hey, what's the one advice that you would give to people who want to start this journey, we always say, don't get overwhelmed by the big picture of traveling around the world. Just find the first horizon, make it there, and figure out what you need to do to go to the next horizon. I think we just need to listen to our own advice at this point. And just focus on what we can do today.
Those horizons for us on this project are kind of about weekly-ish. Whereas like, you know, when you're physically sailing around the world, the horizon's only 5 miles away and it takes an hour to get there. Whereas this project almost feels longer. The next big horizon for us, like the next country we're going to go visit, is when we can paint, when we can prime and insulate the inside of the boat.
Almost there.
Everything we're working on this week and next week is just all the little fiddly things to get done enough that we can kind of prime. And so they're not really making like good weekly videos, because it's like gluing this piece of wood in, sanding this down, taking this off. Like it's not like a whole packaged thing.
The last point.
10.
10.
10. 10.
Oh,
This is an autofocus test. 10. 10. 10.
Self-doubt. That's a huge one. Every single day we come onto this boat, it's so easy to start going down the rabbit hole of, did we do the right thing? Did we make the right choice? Should we even had started this project? But we have to be okay with the decision that we make today. And it's specifically harder when, you know, we have thousands of comments in our videos saying that we're doing things wrong, and every single one of them have a different opinions on what exactly it is that we're doing wrong.
Or how to do it right.
Or how to do it right.
Yeah.
It's
difficult to ignore all that and just like mute it out and just, you know, charge ahead.
Yeah. What we find that works best is to have like a small group of core advisors.
Yeah.
And these are the people that we trust, and these are the people that we run ideas by, that, you know, when we need an opinion, we listen to them.
From the boat to ourselves as well, and keeping us motivated to get through it.
That was our 10th point. That was
that's our therapy session's over for today. Time to get to work.
Actually, there's one more. There's one more point that we can talk about. And I think it can probably be its own video, but we can brush on it right now. It's a bonus point. But how are we going to do 11? Oh, I can do 10. You can do 11. So 11 bonus point for you. And I think this would be the marine industry
As a whole
is just challenging. No matter where you are in the world, no matter where you're doing a boat project, is just very difficult to deal with the marine industry, as opposed to the overlanding industry that we've just tapped into, or even the normal construction industry.
I mean, we were in the construction industry for like 10 years before we got a boat. And now we've been in the marine industry for 10 years, and we've been like in the overland, like 4x4 truck industry for like 2. Boy, they're different. They're just... It's just, I don't understand how, like, the marine industry is still an industry. You know, like, I don't understand how any of these companies stay in business, because a lot of them don't even have a website. Or if they do, it's terrible. It's from, like, the 1990s. And if you can find an email address to email, the chances of them replying to you are very slim, and you have to like email them every day or every week for like a couple of weeks before you even get a reply. And then once you do get a reply, you'll have to like beg them to take your money. And even if you can get an order in, it's still going to be like multiple weeks or sometimes multiple month lead times before the product's even done or ready to ship. It's just ridiculous. And maybe that's a scale thing. Maybe that's just because it's primarily business to business, or like manufacturers to OEMs. And so like us end consumers don't really have a good way of communicating. Like it's just, I haven't been able to figure out why, but the construction industry is much easier, and the overland industry has just been like a breath of fresh air. And it's just highlighted just how terrible of an experience it's been to deal with marine companies. And we're not alone, because we've had this discussion with almost everybody we meet, and it's always the same like eye roll and like exhaustive sigh. I just don't know what's missing. Like, on top of that, anything that's labeled marine is 5 times more expensive, even though there's no reason. We've just found ourselves shopping outside of the marine industry as much as absolutely possible, and then either marinizing the stuff that we use or just finding stuff that works outside the marine industry and using it in the boat.
Yeah, I think that's been the solution that's been working the most, is figuring out where they overlap and get it outside of the marine industry.
Yeah.
And I mean, there, like Dan said, like, there are some exceptions. There are certain things that you can only get it for boats. Like, you won't find a winch for a car.
Right, yeah, there's certain, like,
But-
the hardware is definitely specific. So we
All
can
right.
probably do a whole video on how we navigate the marine industry.
And
but-
now we're slowly closing that little window that we cracked open. Like we said at the beginning, the goal isn't to complain about everything that's wrong about doing a project like this. The goal is to show you that it's not all rainbows. It's not all romance. It's really a beautiful thing to be able to do a boat refit like this on an old boat and bring it back to life. There's a lot of positive aspect to this. But for the most part, like, there are some challenges. It is difficult and it's not for everyone, and you kind of need to have a spine, you know, and you just need to be determined and be ready for the mental setbacks, and that's just the reality of it.
We feel super lucky to be in the position where we can do something like this because we've been wanting to do it for so long. Like Ika said, it's not all rainbows and butterflies, and there's a lot of difficulties along the way.
It is worth it, definitely.
We think it's worth it. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
It might not be worth it for everybody, but that's up to you to determine. We're going to do a positive one next week. Don't worry. All right. Maybe it'll be sunny then and we can do it outside. It's not pouring rain.
So thank you so much for watching, guys. Give it a thumbs up. I hope that it didn't linger too long.
I hope you're not too depressed.
I hope it's sunny outside soon. And then we'll see you guys in the next one.
Cheers. Wait. Do like a gong. Hold it up here. Cheers.